Odin was not a hero. He was something else entirely. A god who sacrificed everything for knowledge. And even then, it wasn't enough to save him. In Norse mythology, Odin ruled over Asgard, the king of the Aesir gods. But he wasn't like Thor. Thor relied on strength. Odin relied on something far more dangerous: knowledge. He was the god of wisdom, war, death, poetry, and magic. But he wasn't born wise. He became wise, and everything he learned came at a cost. At the center of the world stood Yggdrasil, the great world tree. Beneath it was a well, Mimir's well, a source of infinite knowledge. But nothing came free. To drink from it, Odin had to give something in return. So he made a choice. A terrible one, by the way. He tore out his own eye and dropped it into the water. Not for power, not for glory, but to understand the truth of the world. From that moment on, Odin didn't just see what is, he saw what would be. And what he saw terrified him. Odin was a god of war, but not like Thor. Thor fought with brute force. Odin fought with strategy. He didn't just fight battles, he controlled them. He chose who lived and who died. Those who fell in battle were taken to Valhalla, a massive hall where warriors would feast and fight. But not as a reward, more like training camp for the apocalypse. Because Odin knew something no one else did. Ragnarok was coming, the end of the world, and he was building an army to face it. Unlike other gods, Odin knew how the story would end. He saw it. He saw the sky burn. He saw the gods fall. He saw himself die. And no matter what he did, he couldn't change it. Which, for a god, is a pretty bad situation to be in. Everything he did, every sacrifice, every decision, was an attempt to delay the inevitable. But fate, in Norse mythology, cannot be escaped. Odin wasn't just a king. He practiced Seidr, a powerful and dangerous form of magic. It allowed him to see the future, to bend reality, to manipulate fate itself. But there was a problem. In Viking society, this kind of magic was seen as dishonorable, unmanly, and Odin didn't care. Because power mattered more than pride, he would sacrifice honor, if it meant gaining control. But losing his eye wasn't enough. Odin wanted more. He wanted ultimate knowledge. So he did something no god had ever done. He hung himself from Yggdrasil. For 9 days and 9 nights. No food, no water, no help. Just 9 days of very bad decisions. He pierced himself with a spear and hung between life and death. Why? To discover the runes, symbols of power, of language, of reality itself. And when he finally fell, he understood them, but at a cost. Because knowledge, for Odin, always came with suffering. Odin was never alone. He had 2 ravens, Hugin and Munin. Thought and memory. Every day they flew across the world and told him everything they saw. He had 2 wolves, Geri and Freki, and his spear, Gungnir, a weapon that never missed. Everything around him had one purpose: to keep him aware, to keep him informed. Because ignorance was the one thing Odin feared most. To the Vikings, this wasn't just a story. This was reality. They believed Odin was watching, that he chose who lived, who died, and who was worthy of Valhalla. Death in battle wasn't feared. It was honored, because it meant you were chosen. To them, this wasn't mythology. This was just how the world worked. But even Odin couldn't escape fate. He knew how the story would end. At Ragnarok, he would face Fenrir, the giant wolf, and he would lose. Swallowed whole, the god who gave everything for knowledge could not escape destiny. Odin wasn't a hero. He wasn't even good. He was obsessed, relentless, willing to sacrifice anything, even himself. And honestly, a little terrifying. And maybe that's why his story still matters. Because it asks one simple question. How far would you go for knowledge?